Hello everyone, what's up? It's me again, Youngmaster3, and it is time for the top 5 of the month for the month of February. I know I should have uploaded this video like much earlier than I actually do right now, but yeah, that's how it goes sometimes. Now, if you still like not still, but if you wonder why I just keep looking at the computer screen like from time to time, is because it's where I have the top 5 of the month list. So yeah, that's just not to get like confused or anything. And two of these films in this video is one of them I actually do have, but for some reason I couldn't be able to find it in the collection, and the other one I do not have in my collection. I just basically not bought it, but I basically watched it at a friend's house, so that's the reason why. Now let's begin right away with number 5, and number 5 we have Showdown, martial art film with what's his name, Billy Blanks. The charming thing about this film is that I actually told this with to one of my friends, which I watched this with, because he's a big fan of fighting films and martial art films in general. So I basically told him that I can sort of see the charm in these movies, especially the like martial art movies from the early the 90s. So I mean, the actors in this aren't really the greatest actors, but I would say now I completely lost track. I would say they don't cast Billy Blanks to be like a great actor, because he has some really nice moves when it comes to the fighting style, and I mean that's basically the reason why I watch a movie like this in the first place. So yeah, it's your typical like guy interested in a girl, and of course this love interest is involved with a bully in the school, and yeah, it's sort of like your typical martial art film in general. I mean, there's nothing really special about it, but the fighting scenes really makes up for it in my opinion. So yeah, Showdown at number 5. Now at number 4 is the movie which I do not have in my collection, but it's a really like, it's such a weird ass film, and I just can't believe that not that many people haven't seen this film. But the movie is called FDR, American Badass. It's basically, if you want to see like Franklin D. Roosevelt kick ass in his wheelchair and beating up Nazi werewolves, basically, check this one out. I mean, there's basically the whole world is like infested with like werewolves for some reason. So like Germany has werewolves, and even Japan has werewolves, and Mussolini is a werewolf. So it's a really weird ass film, but it's so crazy that it just makes it work. And the humor in it, I just thought it was really funny. And yeah, if you want to have a fun time with your buddies, check out FDR, American Badass. Such an amazing, entertaining film. So yeah, and at number 3 is a movie which, to be honest, when I was about to start watching this, I did not really have the highest hopes for this film, because I've heard rumors that, oh my god, this director, he sort of like lost his charm in the mid 90s, because after that he only made bad films, so yada yada yada. So yeah, and the movie is called King of the Ants at number 3. I mean, if you go into this film and you expect a horror film, you're completely out of it. I mean, you're in this like wrong place right away, because this, I would say this is more like a really, really dark thriller movie, and like a dark drama film as well, in a way. And I mean, King of the Ants, I can basically just tell you about this. I mean, the movie doesn't really have anything to do with the ants. It's basically just that this main guy in this film is basically called like, oh, you're an ant. You're just like, you're like so pitiful. You're like, you're so low on the food chain, basically. So yeah, it's just like a reference to ants. It's not really about any ants in general. So yeah, that's not really a big spoiler, because they basically say that in the first maybe 20 minutes of the film or so, I believe. So yeah, King of the Ants. This is a great Stuart Gordon film. I did also watch the film that he made after this called Edmund, and it was so. It wasn't the greatest, wasn't the worst, but this one is really entertaining. I actually think more people should watch this. So yeah, King of the Ants at number 3. And at number 2 is that film which I have in my collection, which I for some reason are unable to find in the collection, but It's a great sci-fi film from 2009. Oh my god, it's already 10 years ago, but apparently Peter Jackson was like a producer or something like that for this film, if I remember correctly, but the movie is called District 9. The only flaw that I could see in this film in general is maybe like the first 20 minutes or so, I believe, was a little bit so-so, and some of the CG isn't the greatest, but damn, other than that, I would say it's a, oh my god, great film, nearly a 10 out of 10. I've actually gave it a 9 out of 10 just because of some of the CGI in it, so yeah. And at number 1 is a movie which, another movie which I did not really have that high hopes for, because I basically just always, like, for me, I mean, those of people who have watched my or followed my channel for quite a while, you know that when a film is new and it gets like so much like praise, I almost like, I never want to see those films right away, because I do not want it to get overhyped, and I do not want it to get it to be like disappointing in a way. So I basically like wait a year or two before I watch it, so after the hype is like dying out. So yeah, now enough talk. The movie I'm talking about is Summer of '84 from 2018. So, and this is sort of a throwback film. I mean, I can't say that much about the 80s in general because I was not alive then, so but it really felt like they captured that 80s atmosphere really well. And another funny thing is, I mean, most people probably already know about the plot line of this film, but it's basically about these youngsters, and the main like youngster, our main character, he lives neighbor with a guy who he suspects to be the serial killer of this town, and no one really believes him, and he sort of wants to convince them that, oh, he is actually the killer. So because he clearly really thinks this is the serial killer who have like kidnapped and killed youngsters in recent days or in recent like weeks or so. So yeah, Summer of '84, great film. Another thing which I think is a little bit funny is that I sort of have this joke with my father that we actually live next door to a neighbor who, he always seemed to do something in his backyard all the time. I mean, he's so noisy and he can never like shut up with his things every time he's like at home. So this was like a little bit funny as well in a dark way, because we just joke with each other and say, oh, our next door neighbor, he's a serial killer. So that was really funny, because this is sort of the same thing like this, but this is in the 80s, and it's about youngsters. So youngsters, that's really stupid, but I think they're supposed to be like 12 or 12 up to 12 to 15 years old, I believe. I think that was something like that. It doesn't say here on the back, but great film, and really interesting and cool soundtrack as well. So yeah, if you like your 80s films and like throwback 80s like movies in general, Summer of '84 is the film that you should watch. Great film. I'm not really sure how to categorize this. I mean, it's sort of like a thriller, drama, comedy, horror. It's all over the place. But I would not. I mean, it has some comedic elements in it, and that's another thing which I really liked about this film. This movie had comedy in it, and it actually works because they do not have a joke every single minute, which very many comedy movies nowadays actually have. No, I do not say that this is a comedy film, but I think it was a great mix and a great blend of all of these genres, so to say, if that makes sense. But yeah, anyway, Summer of '84, this was easily a 10 out of 10 for me. So yeah, Summer of '84 at number 1. Now I've almost talked for 10 minutes, so I'm just gonna end the video before you are getting really bored. And in the next video is probably going to be an update video, I assume, because I actually received a couple of more movies from one of my friends. Yeah, and maybe like a top 10 list as well, because I haven't made one of those in quite a while. So yeah, hope everyone enjoyed and didn't get bored, and hope to see you again as soon as possible. So see you next time. Bye bye.